Hey everybody, welcome to Jacob's Quest, and today I just finished watching episode 2 of Boba Fett, or the book of Boba Fett. Full spoiler review, obviously, and yeah, let's just jump into it. So, first of all, I think this was a much more enjoyable episode than the first one. I really enjoyed it, but a lot of people had problems with it. That first episode really was just like the setup. Like, here is what he's trying to do in the show. But this second episode definitely feels like now we're getting into the actual plot of what the series is. So first, we're just going to divide this into what's happening in the present day and then what's happening in the past, because I feel like this is going to be a thing that the show actually does stick with probably for the next several episodes. I don't think it'll be there for the entire run, but I think at least for another 2-3 episodes we're gonna be split between the past and then these back to tank flashbacks. But luckily this episode I think this was like a good 45-minute episode, so it was significantly longer than the first episode. So a lot of people are going to be happy about that. And so present day, basically, he got attacked by those assassins, and then Fennec Shand had captured one, so they bring it to the mayor. They kind of like just barge into his place, and this mayor character a lot of people thought was going to be like the big bad of the series. That was kind of the rumor, was that like he was going to be working for Crimson Dawn or the what are they called, the Prince Xizor, or whatever those guys are called, right? The Black Sun Syndicate or something like that. But the big rumor was that like the mayor was going to be like the lead up to an even bigger bad, and I guess maybe in a way it was, but basically they barge into the mayor's place and the mayor's like, hey, I didn't send this assassin. Think about why would I send him? What do I have to gain? I'm not trying to be I'm not trying to be the daimyo here. And basically he goes back to the Twilight healing baths. I don't know if that's actually what that was, but they're telling him like, oh, you didn't hear, the twins have come back and they've laid claim to their cousin's land, basically. And at first I'm like, what are they talking, the twins? Who are the twins? And then he's like, oh, the twins are busy with their debauchery on Hutta, and I'm like, oh my god, they're gonna show some huts. And sure enough, you hear the drums playing, and you hear like this large barge carrying 2 CGI huts, which I gotta say, the huts look pretty good. They are distinctly different from Jabba, but they're like slightly different shades. Like, one's a little bit of a pinkish color and the other one's more of a greenish color, and they got like a couple tattoos or something, kind of like Jabba had on his arm. So these are, I suppose, the twin cousins of Jabba the Hutt, here to claim his throne, basically. And so now Boba has his main competition. Now, this is where it kind of gets complicated, because if you've seen Clone Wars and if you've read the comics and stuff, there was a Hutt council, which is basically, the Hutts are this giant crime family that come out of Nal Hutta, which is their home planet. And Jabba ruled Tatooine, and all the other Hutts, I guess, ruled different planets. And so now you have these cousins who were not on the Hutt Council, because actually in a very, very recent comic book, the entire Hutt Council was killed. So these are new cousins that I don't think we've been introduced to before. I don't think that these are characters that we're supposed to have known. But yeah, basically now they're here and they're saying, oh, we own this. And Boba's like, well, you'll have to kill me for it, because I'm here to rule it. And they kind of just walk away for now, but obviously it's not over. They're like, oh, bloodshed is bad for business. We'll settle this later. And they leave. Now, of course, they also brought with them, I don't know if I'm going to pronounce this right. His name is Black Chrysanthemum. He's a Wookiee in the comic books. He's actually been around for a while in the new Marvel comic books, but he is a Wookiee bounty hunter who, I believe he's teamed up with Boba Fett in the past, or at the very least they've competed for jobs with. He was also with Dr. Aphra for a while in the Dr. Aphra comics. He was there for a while. So he's a character that's come up repeatedly, and so now here he is in live action, and he looks pretty good. Like he looks like he just got ripped out of a comic book. He's pretty awesome, and I have to believe that is, that's just the first of many other bounty hunters we will probably see. Now, Fennec Shand did say something interesting. Basically, she's like, if you want to kill the twins, we're gonna have to get permission because of their huts, which is interesting, because so do they, they're trying to be the dynamo here on Tatooine, but do they still see themselves beneath the Hutt family? But now, because they're competing against a couple of Hutts, do they have to get permission from the Hutt family to kill them? It's very interesting. I'm not sure exactly how this all works. Now, I gotta say, from a claim of ownership type stance, Bib Fortuna was supposedly ruling all of Jabba's stuff for 5 years, and none of the Hutts bothered to claim it. None of them challenged him to the throne, I guess. And then, of course, Boba just takes him out and sits on the throne. So it seems pretty late in the game for now more Hutts to show up and be like, oh, I want to rule this land, because it's like, you didn't do anything about Bib Fortuna, he was there for 5 years. What happened there? So I don't know. As far as I'm concerned, Boba has the right to claim this throne, but we'll see how this all shakes out. But I was really impressed by how the Hutts actually looked. It was just, I like that we're there, because of course we had the CGI Jabba the Hutt back in the original 97 special editions, which, he did not look so great back in 97, and then they redid him in I think 2004, and he looked better. That CGI scene of Jabba the Hutt, he looks better than he did. He looks pretty good in Phantom Menace. But yeah, these Hutts look great, so I was really impressed. I'm assuming they're all CGI, but maybe there is, I don't know, some physical prop component to them. But yeah, they looked really great. And then we of course get to the flashbacks. Now, here's an interesting thing since the first episode is the fans seem pretty split on the flashbacks, because I have seen several people say that they love the flashbacks, that is what they're interested in. But then I've heard other people say, I hate the flashbacks, I wish they would stop them, I just want to move forward in the story. So I'm not sure what the good move here is, because there definitely seems to be people in favor of both. So anyways, here we go, more flashbacks. And of course, he's now training with the Tuskens. He's earned their respect from killing that creature. And then this train comes by, and basically he goes to follow these people on speeder bikes, because he needs to steal some speeder bikes so they can stop this train. And here he goes to this, I don't know if this is supposed to be Tashi Station. So, quick run back. In A New Hope, there is a deleted scene where Luke Skywalker, I guess, goes to Tashi Station, we actually see it, and he meets up with a couple of friends that they are only in this deleted scene. So since it was deleted, most people have never even seen these friends before, and they're sitting here in this little bar area playing these games, and that is the same location that we see Boba Fett go to here. And we see two humans that are dressed the same. I didn't look at the credits, so I don't know if they gave those characters names, but I'm gonna go ahead and assume that those are supposed to be the same characters from that deleted scene. That's what I'm just gonna assume. So they never left Tatooine, they never went on any adventure. Luke Skywalker's friends are just still sitting there in the same place. But anyways, Boba Fett goes in there, he kicks all kinds of butt, he takes their speeder bikes back to the Tuskens. He has to train them how to ride the speeder bikes, and then they have this pretty great train sequence where they're like trying to catch up to it, and then they're climbing it, and then they're going inside of it, and they're taking out all these Pike Syndicate looking guys, the Pikes. And basically what was going on was that the train was going through Tusken territory and then just shooting anyone going by. Very similar to, it's kind of a callback how in the Old West, when they were building the trains across America, a lot of people would just shoot at the buffalo for sport. It was like a game. They're just like, yeah, shoot the buffalo with your rifles out the windows of a train. And that's what happened to a lot of the buffalo, in America. So anyways, it's kind of a callback to that. We see a couple of the bantha get shot down, which was really sad. Those bantha didn't do anything wrong. Anyways, it was a pretty impressive sequence. The Tuskens and Boba just going on top of the train and then in the train, and they're trying to stop the train. And basically, they were the Pike Syndicate. They were, traveling spice. They even tried to deny it, like, well, what does spice look like? And then they open a chest. It's like, oh, well, it looks like that. Now we see the Pikes take off their masks, which we have seen in the Clone Wars. We've seen the Pikes without their masks on, but it feels like it happens so rarely. Is this the first time in live action we've seen the Pikes without their masks on? I think it might be. So when it happened, I was like, oh my god, that's what they look like. I completely forgot that that's what the Pikes look like. I'm pretty sure in the Clone Wars we do see Pikes without their masks on, but they usually have them on. So anyways, basically he's like, hey, these sands belong to the Tuskens. They're not just savages, so if you want to go through this territory, you're gonna have to pay them a toll in order to transport your train through here. Now get to stepping, right? Get out of here. So we're gonna see how long that lasts. I have to imagine that that's gonna bring some sort of what's the word for it? Basically, the Pikes are gonna want to get revenge on the Tuskens. I feel like, that seems like such a clean thing. Like, okay, we stopped that train, we told them you gotta pay us now. It feels like, the Pike Syndicate is a criminal organization. Of course they're gonna come back and be like, yeah, we're just gonna attack you guys and use the path anyways. So that's probably not over for that, but who knows, maybe it is. Basically, now Boba has earned their respect even more. He's learned to use their weapon. They give him a little lizard, and the lizard crawls into his brain and makes him go on a crazy drug trip until he finds a tree branch and he breaks it down. Now during this trip we do see even more footage of Kamino and him as a kid watching Jango Fett fly the Slave One away, and he's like looking out the window like, oh, bye dad, so like I hope we see even more of this footage. I love that this show is not at all afraid to be like, yes, Attack of the Clones happened, here's this is his backstory, this is it. It feels like, I don't know, it feels like if you go back to 2015, they were so afraid to mention the prequels because back then the prequels still had like this kind of stigma about them, but now it's like, oh, you mentioned the prequels, it's like celebrated, so it's kind of funny how things change in Star Wars. Anyways, so he brings back a branch and then they carve it into his own gaffy stick, which, my only thing is like, well, what if someone brings back a branch that's not big enough to do that? Like, are they just stuck with a really tiny gaffy stick? Or what if someone didn't bring back a branch at all? You're relying on this lizard in people's brains going to a tree and getting them a branch. I don't know, it's just one of those magical Star Warsy things where it's like, yeah, it's just how it happens every time, I guess. Now I'm not gonna lie, when they put that lizard in his brain, I thought I was legitimately thinking that, like, oh my god, are they gonna say Are they gonna say that everything Boba Fett has done to this point was because he's had a lizard in his brain? You know, are they gonna be like, oh, we gotta take this lizard out, that way you can be, you know, I don't know, you can be Boba Fett again. I don't know. I thought they were gonna go like a really weird direction with this, but no. The lizard comes back out when he brings back the stick, so he doesn't have a lizard in his brain in the present time. He's fine. And yeah, that's basically where the episode ends. You know, he gets his black robe like we saw him have in Mando season 2. Now, as far as the flashbacks go, they still are probably going to show him finding Fennec Shand and healing her, and then he has to, you know, he's going to have that moment where he sees Cobb Vanth with his armor, and then, you know, of course, the Tuskens stop the Krayt Dragon, which I'm wondering, was his clan part of that thing in that season 2 intro, or were they just kind of watching from afar? So I'm wondering how that's going to play out. But yeah, overall, I really enjoyed this episode. It feels like we're definitely like starting to get to the meat of it. At least for now, his main obstacle is of course going to be these Hutt twins. But yeah, pretty cool. So let me know what you guys think, and yeah, I'm excited now. I'm really excited, and I'll see you guys on the next episode. Bye.